Hi everyone, welcome to channel. Today video is on Blazor WebAssembly CRUD sample using .NET 7 API as backend and MudBlazor library as UI. So the main aim of this video is to implement the delete operation. So to implement delete operation, we need to create delete endpoint in our API project. And in Blazor WebAssembly application, we are going to show a pop-up before deleting the item. So that pop-up we are going to consume from MudBlazor components. Okay, let's go to API project and iSuperhero service. Let's define a method where we are going to implement our logic for deletion. Okay, so method definition like task int. Okay, I'm going to just return the deleted item ID as a response. Okay, delete superheroes async and it will have ID of the item which we want to delete. Okay, so let's implement the method. So here let's implement delete logic like my old db context dot superheroes and where id equal to id dot delete execute delete async. So this is a method that is available from EF Core 7. Okay, execute delete async. So what is the benefit of using this means in previous version or below to EF Core 7 to delete any item, first we need to get the item and then that item need to be add to a method like remove. Here to add we are using add, right? For delete we will use remove. Like that we need to remove. And then we have to call the save changes. So here two DB calls are involving. Like first we need to fetch the existing item. Next we need to remove. So instead of that, we can call this single line of code, means single DB call. Okay. So let's revert this. And here it must be awaited. And finally, let me simply return the ID that I am deleting. Okay. Now let's implement our HTTP delete action method. Go to controller. Public async task iAction result delete async. Okay. It should have input parameter like ID and it should be decorated by the HTTP delete. And I want to add a route because I want to receive the ID, right? So I'm going to define the ID in the route itself. Okay, ID, and I can specify its type like integer. Okay, now I can simply call our method delete method and pass the ID and finally return the response. Okay, in the Swagger I can see my delete endpoint. Let's implement our delete logic in our Blazor WebAssembly application. So close all these files. Just go to Blazor WebAssembly. So I mentioned, right, for deleting, I want to display the pop-up. But now for deleting, I no need to create a page level component. Okay, I want to create a component normal component, okay, where it can be used in any component like a child component, okay. So for that, let's create a new folder like components. Okay, inside of it, let me create a folder like superheroes. Okay, now let me create the normal razor component, but we will not specify any route here. Okay, okay, let's give name like superhero delete pop-up. Okay, create it. Now let's add MudBlazor dialog component. So go to components and check for dialog. Okay, so if you click here, see something like this dialog I want to show before deleting an item. Okay, so this is the HTML content for dialog. Okay, let me copy this and add it over here. Here it is expecting some submit and cancel buttons, right? So let's create methods. For now, let's create empty methods. Okay, private void cancel. Okay, and another method here, button like OK, but I want to this button label as confirm delete. Okay, so on clicking this confirm delete, we should invoke our API call. Okay, so let me create a one more method like private async because I am going to invoke the API call in this method. Okay, task confirm delete async. Okay, let's configure this method to this button. Okay, let's change the dialog content like are you to delete this item. Okay, now to get control over this dialog component, we have to use a cascading property. Okay, that is, so let's define the cascading property like mud dialog instance. Okay, and I will name it like mud dialog. Okay, and it must be a cascading means it should be decorated with the cascading property attribute. That means it will comes from the top. Okay, now using the mud dialog component, I can implement the cancel logic like mud dialog dot cancel. Okay, that will closes the pop-up. Okay, now in confirm delete async, we have to invoke the HTTP call, right? So we have to inject the HTTP instance. So at the rate inject HTTP client, okay, underscore HTTP. So here I am going to invoke like await HTTP from JSON, okay, and I am going to specify like integer the API response, okay, and here we have to specify the URL, but URL should be dynamic because it has ID value to be added to the URL. Okay, so just like our edit component, here we have a URL, right? Get by ID. Same way I can add it here, but we don't have a ID property here. So let me create a property like id. Okay, so public int id. Okay, and it should be decorated with parameter. Why we should decorated this with parameter means on invoking this component, the parent component can send the values. In that value, id is one of the variable. Okay, now after successful delete API call, we have to close the pop-up, right? So for that, mud dialog dot close. Okay, and to this close, we can send like a dialog result dot okay, means successfully we are closing. Okay, that's the logic we required in our delete pop-up component. So let's go to our all superheroes component. Okay, from here I want to invoke the, so let me create a delete button here. So copy our edit button. Okay, paste it here and change it like delete, and change the title also delete, and I want to display this delete icon in red color. So color equal to color dot primary. Okay, and here I am going to use arrow function but not this logic. Okay, let's remove this logic. Okay, and let's create a new method. Okay, so private async task delete superhero async, and it should have id value as a input parameter. Okay, the item we want to delete. Okay, now to invoke the dialog component, we have to inject the iDialog service. The rate inject and iDialog service. So underscore dialog service. And one more thing, to use this MudBlazor dialog, we have to add dialog component at the root level. Okay, so if you recall, initially while configuring main layout, we have added mud dialog provider, right? So this should be registered here, or else we will get errors. Okay, that is one of the key thing need to remember when we are using dialog service. Okay, so now using the dialog service, I can show the dialog. Okay, for that, dialog equal to await underscore dialog service. Okay, dot show async. Okay, so here we have to pass the type of our dialog. Since our razor component is superheroes delete pop-up, right? Same thing here we can pass. Okay, superhero. Okay, here I am not able to get the intelligence, right? That is because we haven't registered this newly created folder structure hierarchy in our import.razor file. So let me create at the rate using .7 Blazor WebAssembly UI components superheroes. Okay, now if I try to access the type of my dialog pop-up, see now it is coming. Okay, and first parameter is like the heading to the component. Okay, delete confirmation, I will heading. Okay, and second there are many overloaded methods where we can pass the parameters, dialog parameters. Why we should pass the dialog parameters means here I have to pass the ID value, right? Deleted item ID value to invoke the delete endpoint. So those ID value I can send using the parameters. Okay. For that I can create new dialog parameters. Okay. It is like a dictionary where we can add our property name, okay, and the ID value. Okay, this property name here must match with the parameter property name value. Okay, now I can pass the parameters. Okay, now let's wait for the click events of the dialog pop-up. For that, what I can do means where result equal to await dialog dot result. Okay, any click event. Here this line of codes opens the pop-up, but after clicking either close or confirm delete, this is the line, we'll wait for it. Okay, and if result dot sorry result dot cancel. So if we click the cancelled button, we are calling cancelled method, right, in the delete. So if we click the cancel here, it will come true, cancelled true. If we not clicked cancel, it will come false. So we are checking for the false condition. That means we clicked the delete confirm button. Okay. So now here in this if what we have to do means after deleting the item, we should delete the item from this collection also, because we need to refresh our UI, right? Instead of page reloading, we must delete our item from this all heroes collection. Okay. So all heroes equal to all heroes where ID not equal to item deleted ID. Okay. But here after opening the pop-up, okay, our execution thread will be paused. Okay. And after clicking any button, it again resume execution. At that time, it will lose the state of the component. Okay. So if we remove also, UI doesn't affect. Okay. So to affect the UI, we have to call a default method of Blazor, that is state change. Explicitly we are saying state is changed. So when we call this method, our state get refreshed, component state get refreshed. Okay. So that's it, and register this method with our delete button here instead of the arrow function. Okay, and pass item dot id. Okay, let's execute. Okay, here I have to specify the semicolon. Okay, let's check. Okay, now we are getting delete button also, but I want red color, right? So here I want to use not primary. I have to use error. Okay, now it is in red color. Now let's try to remove the item. Okay, let's try to remove this item. See, I am getting confirmation method. Okay, if I click on cancel button, nothing is happened. If I reload also, nothing is happened. Okay, so let's open inspect element. Okay, now click on delete. Now click on confirm delete. See, the item is gone. Okay, and if you check the network call, see, delete endpoint is invoked. If you refresh also, you won't get that deleted item. Okay, that means API call also successful. Okay, from this we can understand we have successfully implemented the delete operation. Next, we are going to implement sorting. Okay, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this video delivered some useful content to you all. If you like the video, please do support by subscribing to the channel, and please don't forget to like and share the video. Soon we are going to meet with new content. Until then, signing off.